unless you're ready and prepared for the outcomes. But besides that, you are watching Smart Means Business, as now we're heading into the SMB Insight. Today's insight, we're looking at Kenya's move to ban the Ugandan milk. Of course, this is not the first time Kenya is banning any of our products, but this time around it is the milk here. Now, what impact does this ban have on the stakeholders in the industry? And then we should definitely need to create some bilateral policies to regulate this milk trade. Otherwise, the ban may continue and it will affect our relationship in regards to trade with Kenya. We have more of this coming in from Sarah Kajingo, who is the Vice Chair, Board of Directors, a private sector foundation of Uganda.
This is not the first time our products are banned. Sometimes it's sugar, but for milk specifically, this is not the first time. In 2019, there was reduction on permits. You know, we have 100, according to the Dairy Development Authority, we have 135 licensed companies engaged in milk products. So in order for you to export to Kenya, you need a permit from the Dairy Development Authority of Kenya. But you recall that 2019, some of our milk products were banned. But we thank His Excellency President Ruto. When he took charge of the administration, our milk was back again. Our milk products were back again in Kenya. Now this is a new development, quite unfortunate. As you may have read the statement, the Kenya's Dairy Development Authority says it is a temporary suspension of powdered milk products. And of course, it does not specifically state Uganda. It says importation, meaning importation from elsewhere in the region as well. The downside to this is that now on our part in Uganda, the entire value chain is impacted. You have a local producer, a farmer, who must have supplied a local processing facility. You have pre-orders, Kenyans who may have ordered, and indeed they had ordered. It has affected the logistics sector. A truck driver who say was hired by Pearl Dairies or any other company, so that is abruptly impacted. Of course, it will not only hurt Uganda. In 2021, the Kenyan Revenue Authority lost to up to $8 million in taxes on powdered milk. You have Kenyans engaged in packaging. Our policy people, we tasked the PSFU policy team to engage the entire value chain of milk in Uganda, so that then we table these issues, which we have already done to the government of the Republic of Uganda, in order to resolve this. As you know, there are mechanisms between our two countries. So for us as private sector, we present the issues, what the impact is on jobs. Whenever we have these bans, we lose up to 10,000 direct jobs, 30,000 indirect jobs. So the market, the impact is huge. But what's going to happen is that government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, will contact their counterparts in Kenya towards resolution of this. We also have other mechanisms, the Joint Permanent Commission of the two countries. We have the Ministry of Trade, the East African Community, because in 2010, you know that the East African Community ratified the Common Market Protocol in 2009 that came into force in 2010. And the protocol states that goods, there should be free movement of goods and services within the East African Community. Now, often, this is not what it is in practice. The good thing is that increasingly commercial diplomacy is shaping policies of African countries on trade. And I think you've seen us partnering with the government of Uganda to penetrate markets, to integrate these markets, business summits in Democratic Republic of Congo, in South Africa, in South Sudan, in Juba. There is an upcoming one in Rwanda. The intention is that regional trade is enhanced, that collaborations, linkages between our two countries' private sector are enhanced, that people sign deals, but also, and very important, that every barrier to trade and travel, progressively these issues are handled. Uganda's milk and milk products are not exported only to Kenya. We have a market in Bangladesh. We have a market in United Arab Emirates and others. Of course, Kenya is one of our big trade partners. And this ban, the temporary ban on powdered milk products, should not be misconstrued as severancy of bilateral relations or misconstrued as severancy of trade relations in other commodities. Kenya and Uganda are big trade partners. We actually, NSSF, we savers of Uganda invest in Kenya. Kenyans invest in Uganda. So, and with the continental free trade area that African countries signed on to, African countries and their leaders, you can see now. Initially, you would see diplomats in rooms with wine and talking to each other, but you can now see our heads of state are taking the lead. Wherever they go with businessmen, wherever, and actually our own leader here, His Excellency President Museveni, is taking leadership on this, and in partnership with the private sector. So you see that it is commercial diplomacy intended not just for our products to penetrate other countries and elsewhere in the world, but mutual trade, especially in Africa. So what we don't have, we can import from other countries within Africa. But for the case of the East African community, what the business sector is driving, and indeed our regional governments, is to add value to our products, increase their shelf lives, and collaborate. So now I think the future is bright. We shouldn't lose hope. And we in Uganda, the private sector of Uganda, contributes to shaping of policies in the country to make the environment better for businesses, which is why you see even when we went to Democratic Republic of Congo in Kinshasa as businesses, and we signed some deals together with our business counterparts in DRC. We also had government to government meetings to resolve these issues, say of transfer of money. You know, this can impact business. In Congo, for example, now Uganda Airlines flies there 4 times a week. That is a good development. And with the resolution of security and infrastructure issues in Africa, business and trade will continue to grow. So let's not lose hope. Talking about, I think you're referring to, say, the suggestion that we should try and exhaust our local markets. Of course, Ugandans consume milk, but in the case of Kenya, the temporary suspension is on powdered milk. There are other products of milk from milk, cheese, for example, ice cream that our local companies export. So sometimes we have excess milk, actually most of the time, because government has increased collection centers. Milk is now second to coffee in exportation. So, but on exhaustion of markets, there has been a view by some people that the milk could be consumed by schools, so that farmers do not continue to lose, because whenever we have such an impact or such a ban, of course it impacts on the farm gate prices. Farmers now lose out, they get a low return. But consumption in schools is dependent on availability of funds by government. So as the resource envelope continues to improve for the country, yes, that market will happen. But currently, when this happens, when this ban happens, like for example what's happening now, it means that some production lines of some companies are going to be halted. That means losses. The logistics sector, some were not yet paid. Owners of trucks, not yet paid. That means a loss. The impact is huge. But as the private sector foundation of Uganda, of course, we have tabled this to the government of Uganda to use their good officers to engage their counterparts in Kenya. We are also contacting the private sector counterparts of KEPSA in Kenya, because what's happening does not hurt only Uganda, it hurts Kenyans. They lose jobs, 700 to 800. Parking, distributors, they are heavily impacted. We hear the impact is huge, and so we hope that because you saw when His Excellency President Ruto took charge, he said no, it is okay for our two countries to continue to trade. So we know that will continue to be the direction, and the business community is thankful for the lifting of that ban when he took charge, and now the milk products have been exported to Kenya. So we hope that government, through its mechanisms, informed by Private Sector Foundation Uganda on the impact, on how this can possibly be resolved, that this matter is put to an end, because the future is really that of collaboration. We are talking regional security, regional trade, so protectionism does not aid any of our economies. What we need to do is to work together. For example, if we could each add value to our products, then we can export to other countries as well, where, for example, you saw His Excellency the President of Uganda, as well as that of Algeria, engaging in the business forum in Algiers, and our president made a request also for a market for milk and other products. So for us, we will continue in partnership with government to ensure we integrate more markets in Africa, but continue also to penetrate others outside Africa.
Okay, and of course, these are discussions when you look at trade. President Museveni has been in Algeria, and Algeria does look like a profitable market
for most especially producing the powdered milk.
Exactly.
Because the powdered milk exports account for about 35% of Ugandans exports.
Sure.
So that would be something really good that we can embrace more value addition. Because
that's the point.
Because some of the countries we also export to, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, countries in the United Arab Emirates, actually, some of them, so that is something very good. And also I was thinking, if Kenya is doing this, we can opt for common markets.
Okay.
COMESA is available. Now there is the upcoming AFCTA, the African Continental Free Trade Area, though I don't know how far the leaders are really taking this serious, but this puts you in a point, you realize that you can't rely on one person. I remember when Ruto had just become president, there was a statement he made where he talked about, okay, these are actually the actual words for any person there who didn't really pay keen attention to it. He said we should be adding value to our milk, producing butter, powder for sale in the DRC, DRC, Central African Republic, West Africa, as they import cheaper milk that is from Uganda.
Okay.
Now the cheaper milk imported from Uganda could be like a raw material for them to produce what they sell to other countries to get a profit. But of course, maybe due to unavoidable circumstances, because now we're heading into a long rainy season rather, and there is anticipations that there will be surplus of supply of milk. There is a projected increase. So I think that prompted the idea of making sure that they ban like Uganda from importing this. But for that case, well, let's opt for other markets. The COMESA, most especially where we are members of it. How far are we utilizing these markets? Because Kenya, I know Kenya is one of our biggest markets when it comes to selling milk there. Because I think in 2021 we sold about $70 million of milk exports. So let's opt for common markets. Let's take it much more serious, and thank God that we have even representatives, from Uganda, sitting on the COMESA board. So I think that would be something very, very efficient if we really take into massive action.
Well, of course, I want to believe that it's still the same thing we mentioned yesterday: consistency and quality.
Consistency and quality.
Of consistency.
Yeah, quality and consistency.
And it's something again that we need to look at deeply as a country. Generally, I believe Uganda has got a lot to offer from the dairy sector. We are producing quite a number every other year.
Because I was also thinking, in case we can't really, maybe if our quality, if the value addition is hard, because when it comes to purity of milk, our milk is pure. Because the way our cows are fed, what they give out there is, maybe what we could do best is to ensure that we preserve the natural we have it and see how we can take it out there. Maybe that could be our competitive advantage. I know there are these storage related expenses, because you have to make sure that the milk is safe from the transit. Those are costs you can really incur as a government. If you really see this is your advantage, if we can give them the organic milk, then they can do the value addition for themselves. It's up to them. Then we mention our price, because I know all these excuses can all be there. There is surplus, what. When I try to look into, powdered milk has nothing to do, with all this. Getting to see that. So I would really think we could also try to, put some sort of competition when it comes to producing the pure milk. We preserve it. We have really good milk brands here, and you take them naturally and they feel you're taking milk, unlike in other places, in other countries where things don't taste organic, because you cannot tell me that a cow that has been that has grown, probably it has undergone artificial, there is that concept in science, it's called artificial sort of incubation, and it matures very fast. The meat it's going to give you is not compared to our natural cow, which has grown up in the village on pure grass. The milk it's going to produce is not going to be compared to that. So I believe if people in other countries really test our organic milk, there will be something really quite different. Away from importing and exporting powdered milk, I would think if we could also try this organic, the pure milk, we just preserve it with the safe preservatives. We take it there. I believe it would be an icebreaker.
Okay, and it's a very huge one. And obviously, as you're watching Smart Means Business now, after the break, we're getting back with on-ground discussions.
Yeah, on-ground discussion.
Then to the viewers out there, please remember to invest in government bonds, invest in various securities available with Zabu. Zabu is a platform by Otex East Africa, which is all giving you this chance to grow your investment. Star 292 hash is the USSD code that you can use to grow your investments. Start investing as fast as you can, and possibly the same way as you will be able to grow as fast as possible. Well, try to keep up with the investment Remember, the markets open at 8:15 a.m. and closing time is 3:15 p.m. They're only fully closed during the weekends and on public holidays. The minimum amount for you to use to invest is 15,000. Zabu, my money, my future. Or take East Africa, do something new. We'll be right back with our on-ground discussions. You're watching Smart Means Business with Joram and Andrew. Good morning.